Children, good day. We are going to continue with our lessons, and the next subject we are going to look at is basic science. Topic: reproduction in plants. And it is a very, very important topic which I would like you to be very, very attentive. What is reproduction? It is a process whereby living things generate young ones that look like them. Reproduction is a process whereby living things generate young ones that look like them. For example, it is through reproduction that you children are in this world today. Your parents gave birth to you, and the process of them giving birth to you is called reproduction. Then we also have two different types of reproduction. A, sexual reproduction, and B, asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is the one that's the type of reproduction that human beings, animals like dogs, goats, and so on and so forth have. It involves two sexes, the female sex and the male sex. That's sexual reproduction. We have the one that is asexual reproduction. That in asexual reproduction, it involves only one sex. It is done by the organism dividing itself into two or more parts. It does not involve male and female. It involves only one organism. So you have to understand the difference. And in plants, they have what we call asexual reproduction. Remember that the topic is reproduction in plants. And in plants, what they have is asexual reproduction. It involves only one organism. There are different types of asexual reproduction, which is budding, spore formation, and vegetative propagation. I'll briefly explain them one by one. Asexual reproduction takes place in plants, and we have examples of asexual reproduction. Some of it are budding, spore formation, and vegetative propagation. I will try to briefly explain these things. Budding, you can find them in plantain and banana. What do I mean by budding? When you want to plant plantain or banana, you make a nursery, you get a small, uproot a small plantain plant and get something like soil. This is a humus soil, and plant it there. Then take it to the place where you want to plant it. You don't plant seeds in plantain. You have to find a young plantain plant and uproot it. And that is what they call budding. When you take that young plantain plant and put on the ground, it is called budding. Then we have the one they call vegetative propagation. This one happens in cassavas and potatoes. How do they take it? They take the stem, they cut out parts of the stem and just put it in the ground, and it starts growing. That one is what they call vegetative propagation. Then we have the one that they call spore formation. This one generally happens in non-flowering plants. Non-flowering plants like fungi and bacteria. Plants that have no flowers. Don't know how many of you pupils have seen fungi, all these greenish things that you see in damp areas. They don't have flowers. And that one is how they grow, how they are reproduced is through spore formation. The flower is the reproductive part of plants. Take note of that, because in some of your exam questions, they will ask you, what is the reproductive part of plant? It is the flower. The flower is the reproductive part of plants. And the flower is a plant that contains both the female and male sex organs. The flower also produces the seeds and the fruits of that plant. Let us look at parts of the flower. I drew a diagram on the board. And in that diagram, we have the sepals, petals, stamen, and carpels, and so on and so forth. Please, I want to explain this thing one by one. Remember that flowers have bright colors. Some of them their colors are red, yellow, white, etc. And they also have sweet smells. And we have insects. That is what attracts the insects, the smells that the flower has. And these insects are called agents of pollination. It's not only insects, even winds and other stuff, rain and so on. So what does these insects do? They help to transfer pollen grains from the anther to the stigma. Please, I want to tell you something here. This transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma is known as pollination. And remember, when I explain this diagram, you will know that the anther is the male productive organ, and the stigma is the female reproductive organ in the plants. Look at parts of the flower. Sepal. They are the outermost set of the fold that enclose. Remember that when the flower is about to burst out, you have the stronger outermost part. And that stronger outermost part is known as sepals, before the beautiful colored flower will come out. Then we have the petals. They are the colored, beautiful flowers. They are called petals. Look at them here. Look at them in this diagram. Sepal. Look at sepal, the outermost fold of the flower. When this outermost fold opens up, then the beautiful parts of the flower will come out, which is called petals. And within the petals, we have what we call the stamen. They comprise of the long, slender stalk called look at the stamen here. This one and this one is the stamen. Anther and filament, they are the stamen. It contains the long, slender stalk, filament, and then the rounded top, which is known as the anther. Both of them are called the stamen, which is the male reproductive organ. Then we now have the anther that encloses the pollen grains. Look at the anther here. It encloses the pollen grains. Look at the anther here. The top, the rounded top. Inside it, we have the pollen grains. And remember, I told you that both the filament, which is this long one, and the anther make up the stem. I've already mentioned that pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma. As we said it before, which is very, very important. We have two types of pollination. We have the self-pollination. That is when there is a transfer of pollen grains from the same flower to the stigma of that same flower. That is what we call self-pollination. That is one flower like this. You transfer the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower. That is self-pollination. Then we have the one we call cross-pollination. This is the one that you transfer the pollen grains of one flower to the stigma of another flower. That one is called cross-pollination. Then we have what, because there was no space, but I'll still mention it, the benefits of flowers. One of them is flowers are used to decorate our homes. When you plant flowers around your home, you can make your house or your surrounding to look very beautiful. Another one is that flowers are used to make perfumes. Some of these perfumes you see, it is they get their fragrance from flowers. Another benefit of flower is that there are some flowers that we eat. Example, cauliflower. We use it as vegetables. And there's another benefit of flower. They are used to make some medicines. Some flowers are used to make medicines. And we have, I can mention some flowers, but we have hundreds or thousands of flowers. Some of them, rose flower, bougainvillea, hibiscus flower, and so on and so forth. Please, children, I would like you to look at, there's another one they call lily flower. But I would like you to do a kind of start and write up to 20 or 30 flowers for me. There are so many flowers. How I wish you can ask me questions now. But if you have any questions, you can post it on YouTube. By the time I come online the next time, I will answer them. God bless you all.